My name is Henry Birnbrey. I was born in Dortmund, Germany. Interestingly enough, the day I was born became the famous day of the United Nations petition for the State of Israel. Met my wife at a Young Zionist convention. We have 4 children. We have 15 grandchildren. So I figured that's one way of making Jewish life go on.
Well, I remember him speaking at my high school class. I never realized he had an accent. I was like, oh my God, he has the thickest accent. I'm mortified.
He didn't start talking about this at all until...
It was 1972, I think. And when we took the trip to Israel, but went to Dortmund, and all the preparation of going to Germany, at that time it was still very shrouded.
Before the war, we were middle-class people. My father was a merchant. We lived in a nice apartment, and our city had a Jewish public school, which I attended.
But I can remember him talking about when he was little, that he had a lot of friends, and that at some point that stopped.
Right.
He used to go to the store with his father, and then his father's best customer stopped by.
Because his son had joined the young Nazis.
Right.
His father was taken to court, and the judge recognized him and knew he was a good guy, and he said to him,
what I'm going to ask you to do is just not come back to this city, abandon your business here, so that they think I sent you off to a concentration camp. From then on, things went downhill fast for us. And I witnessed even when some Orthodox Jews were taken down the street, had their beards shaven off, and were forced to clean the street with toothbrushes. My parents decided to see if I could get out of Germany.
The story we heard was that they got 24 hours notice. They said that 24 hours from now you need to be at the train station. That night he came down with a high fever.
And if they knew he was sick, they wouldn't let him go. His mother stood on that train station and made a deal with God. Take care of him, do whatever you want with me.
Yeah.
And then I came to Atlanta in 1939. People were wonderful to me, but I still felt like an outsider and didn't belong because I had to learn so much.
My dad was a very smart person. They didn't see it
Because he couldn't speak the language.
He couldn't speak the language. He was shy. He was polite.
I think we got a glimpse of what his mother felt through her letters. Her concerns were, is he being polite?
is he thanking the people that are keeping him? His mother informed him that his father died of injuries from Kristallnacht.
And he was just gotten the visa or making progress when he got the telegram that his mother had died.
I lost both of my parents within the same year and had to stay cottage for about 18 months.
You know, when you think about a 14-year-old kid coming with absolutely no one.
Well, now that you know how it turned out, he had to be pretty smart because he's always been pretty smart.
Yes.
My first goal was to be like everybody else do. Our life was very much, as kids, involved around basketball and parties and dances.
He had a happy life here and really seemed to get along with everybody and, became an American.
I wanted to be a good American. I had to file a presidential appeal to get into the Army. Because under law, I was an enemy alien. And I had no question that's what I wanted to do.
He really wanted to be an American soldier.
He also understood Europe in a way that the American
Right.
20-year-old could not possibly have understood, because he knew what was going on in Germany. So he's saying, we need to be in this fight.
He was a victim, but he was also a resistor and a rescuer.
The first really traumatic thing that I saw, we liberated a freight train of Jews being shipped from one camp to another, locked in these boxes. Horrible experience that human beings could be in that stage. I never thought of them as young people, 15 or 16 years old. And I'm proud to tell you that they located some of the survivors on that train and brought them to our reunion.
I think he was very proud of that experience.
He really encompassed the whole experience of World War II.
I was discharged, came to the United States. I did not know anything about segregation, and all of a sudden I see half the train moving in one direction and other people moving in the other direction. I had left one injustice in Germany, and I faced a new injustice, the segregation of blacks and whites.
He has a strong sense of fairness. He doesn't think it's fair.
He would also talk a lot about what you should do if you witness an injustice, because he would end by saying there are always injustices going on in the world, and it's important that you stand up for them. He met Mom, who was so pretty, at a softball game. I think she was running towards home.
Mom and Dad were very community minded. She was
the creative.
She was the editor.
Mom had a background in journalism. She would write for the Hebrew Academy newspaper.
But do y'all remember when we would come back from Israel, Mom and Dad would do a slideshow in the living room. We would invite different Jewish families to come over and see what Israel was like.
Right.
When things happen in Israel, I go to pieces. I just take it very to heart. And when the children started asking questions, and at that point, I got involved in genealogy and put together a book on our family.
To honor them is just to remember them, and their whole lives would not just be erased from history. Because he had no family, it made family that much more important to him.
If he met you one time, he would find some connection. Somehow we're related, and then you were related for life.
Yeah.
That gave him a sense of who he was.
My kids and grandchildren wanted me to show them all these places. When I found out that my parents' graves had been located, I went to Germany.
He'd gotten comfortable with that part of his past, and now he wanted to share it with us in a nice way instead of in a terrible way. He wanted to show us the good parts and the bad parts.
Right. And of course, when we went to the place where my father got killed, is when I had the heart attack.
His father was beaten up on Kristallnacht. He was taken to this Gestapo prison.
Dad had an episode in the cell. It was not like something small. It was bad. It was really bad. All we could say to ourselves was, not here.
Right.
Not here. It's an emotional thing that he's in the same cell.
And the ambulance drove him first by the train station where he said goodbye to his parents.
And then to the hospital.
And then
to the hospital.
He was born at.
Yeah.
And then he got discharged, and we all sat in this big room in the hotel with all the kids around him. The kids were all asking him questions and reading him letters.
He was proud to come back, not as one person,
Yeah,
but to
yeah.
come back as a busload.
Yeah.
You can't explain the Holocaust. The only reaction I had is to become more involved in Jewish affairs.
He was a very sincerely grateful human being.
Yes.
That kind of feeling spurred him to be involved in community.
I've always had such a deep interest in things Jewish, guided my whole life. My main activity has been with the Greenfield Hebrew Academy.
Hebrew Academy was another family for him.
He would also go to meetings
Every night.
every single night.
Every night.
And a lot of meetings were at our house also.
He believed in education. He believed in Judaism, and it was a perfect partnership.
And he was a natural leader.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I figured, you got to talk about it and you got to let people know.
The talks gave him a purpose
Yeah. I mean, you could hear a pin drop during his speeches.
to be able to share that with kids
His age.
that he was when he left Germany, who possibly never met a Jew before. He wanted to act in a certain manner. He was the face of Judaism.
You have to lead by example and hope that people will follow you.
I would say that he taught us to show up.
90% of life is showing up.
90% of life was showing up.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Stand up and show up, and you don't take a back seat. I think we're very lucky in that we're able to show up, keep his values at the forefront.
Not to take family for granted, that family is everything, and family means more than just us. The family can be beyond the family.
It was true. They both really were so passionate. You plant a tree not for yourself, but for the people after you.